Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Solve Your Strife. And my name's Elena. I am the host, and I will just be bringing you a short video describing server architecture, monoliths and microservices, then the differences between them, and which one I think in today's should be using. So, and this is a blog post. Read it. Feel free to go to my blog, Solve Your Strife, on dev., and you can read it as much as you like. So first I'm just gonna, I'll come back to this image after I describe and go through both monoliths and monoservices, a little wrap up so that you can hear what I have to say and then look at it visually. Monolith is a service architecture that was used a lot in the past. That word's probably familiar to you if you watched 2000 A Space Odyssey. There are monoliths in that. It's like one of the big main motifs of it. So that's what you can kind of picture when you think of a monolith. Not always necessarily like specifically that, but that kind of idea in general. So basically it is one big home for everything in the system: the database, the user interface, the code, basically every task that's going to run in a system or a program or a computer, anything like that. Everything is hosted in one system. So while you can have all of these different options, one of the biggest perks of that is that you could have so many different options in one whole host for a wide variety of versatility back in the times when it was really, really used, but also it was really big and bulky software. And if you wanted to change something, it was typically a lot harder to change things because it would affect everything in the system, sometimes even allowing you to not make those changes if there were issues that became present. So then that brings us to microservices. So those are basically, it's an API that's oriented in providing flexibility for your system. So it splits up every task into its own separate home, basically, you can think of it as. They each have their own operations. So one is just to store information. One is for the UI. One is for any processing. One can be for just like then providing the output of whatever the system is. Whatever things are, whatever each task is that your system has, runs, implements, and then outputs, they're each split into their own home, basically. And this allows for the system to run much faster because it's not everything working in the same home at once. It's everything working on their own, but also working together because they're still connected. So let me list off a couple of other advantages. It's easier to organize and maintain just because things are in their own places. And then if one thing, becomes run down or stops working, you just have to fix that. Again, it improves organization of the code. I'll have to fix that, say code organization in my blog post, as well as it produces productivity, flexibility, and scalability. So you can, really change things as much as you want. If your program is working great and you want to move it to a larger scale project, then it's so much easier to bring it to that scale because it's not like everything is in one system and you have to fix it all. And it's a lot more difficult to do everything. You might just only have to fix one task or operation, as well as it just allows for everything to be more autonomous and cross-functional between teams. So teams don't have to, if they only need part of that system, then they only have to use those parts. Whereas if people use monoliths, then it would be doing their process through everything in the system, and it would just really slow things down. So that's why I believe that microservices are the better choice in today's tech world, just because people want things faster always. And as the tech world has advanced, it's not just one function that people use systems or programs for anymore. It's, each department could be using the same program, but for different reasons. And it just is a lot easier if they can just utilize the parts that they need instead of having to sit through the monolith service architecture where everything has to run through for them. So if you want to read more into that, that's there, but let me just run through that really quickly again. So this is what a monolith looks like. See, in a nice we're going to use a pentagon as a house, basic motif. So as you can see, every aspect of the system, it is all connected, which is good, but it's all within one house. So in order for, say, these 4 orange squares to work or function, if we want to say that the system works counterclockwise, this blue pentagon has to allow for this to work. And then same for each thing. Each thing has to run and work for the next one that is connected. Whereas in microservices, they're all in their own home, processes as they need to, and they again are connected to other processes in the system and what needs to help to work, or it doesn't need to work, but it can advance or aid. So they're all still connected, but they're all in their own homes and work independently on their own. So I hope that was a good little introduction to these two different service architectures, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.